Well, Mara Bernasconi is the Regional Communications and Advocacy Manager for Humanity and Inclusion UK, an NGO which has teams working in Gaza. She joins us now from Milan. Good to have you with us. So, Mara, first of all, as I was reading, their aid workers themselves are facing the challenge of starvation. Just talk to us about the daily challenge they face, the struggle to get food and the dilemma of, if they do find it, whether to feed themselves, their families, or give it to others that they're there to serve.
Thank you for having me. Yes, as you said, we are at the peak level of starvation, where people are literally starting to drop dead. And our colleagues, as also my colleagues from Oxfam just said, are humanitarian workers living in Gaza and are not separate from suffering. They're experiencing death, hunger, displacement, danger since 21 months. They're incredibly brave and strong. And in the past months, they served people in need while trying to survive, but they are collapsing as well. Humanity and Inclusion is doing explosive ordinances, risk education, and physical rehabilitation. Those work requires a lot of strength, concentration, and our colleagues are physically and mentally depleted. They are struggling to concentrate or function, because they face directly the effect of dehydration and malnutrition. And we are watching them starve to death, and it's insane because this is a man-made humanitarian crisis and is deteriorating on a daily basis because it's allowed by impunity and inaction. One colleague told me a few days ago, there are no more to use. It's a nightmare with no end.
The Gaza Health Ministry is talking about over 1,000 people dying in Gaza while seeking food. Is the choice people face either die of hunger or risk dying by a bullet at these notorious Gaza Humanitarian Foundation sites?
There is also the option of dying under bombing. There is also the option of dying under rubble while looking for their beloved ones due to unexploded ordnance that are remaining under rubble. I mean, it's a death trap, whatever we are looking for, whatever perspective. Of course, we are witnessing the highest level of desperation. And exactly 2 months ago, the Israeli government-controlled scheme, the so-called, as you mentioned, Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, began operating. But of course, this is not a humanitarian response. This is not aid. It's a militarized tool to implement a political agenda. And people is dying, is dying while going to receive the food package, if they can have them. And let's keep in mind that women, persons with disabilities, elderly people cannot reach those distribution points, and are 3 as of now only. And of course, they are under bombing and shelling on daily basis. And there is starvation that is, of course, now with all the blockades of humanitarian aid, is again an additional burden for them.
Mara, your organization is one of the 100 NGOs which are calling on governments to press Israel to allow aid in. What is it that governments could be doing that they're not?
They have all the legal, politic and economic instruments to stop this nightmare. We need them to take concrete actions once for all to end the siege and the violation of international humanitarian law. We need a ceasefire, an immediate and permanent one. We need access. We need to do our job. We need to do access to have access without limitations or impediments. We need to restore the functioning UN humanitarian system. We need to have states finally to pursue concrete measures to end the siege, such, for example, halting the transfer of weapons and ammunition. They could do so.
And Mara, more than 100 people have died of starvation, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, and 80 of them, no less than 80, children. Has the humanitarian system failed? Has the international order failed?
I think that humanity has failed. The humanitarian system is not failed. It's being deliberately and systematically dismantled by the government of Israel, by their blockade, the restriction, the introduction of the so-called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation scheme, but the UN-led mechanism, the humanitarian mechanism, was in place, and we are absolutely capable to do again our job at scale if we can have access. The point is that the actual military controlled scheme is putting only people in danger and is not at all distributing aid and services as we humanitarians could do.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience and perspective. Mara Bernasconi there, Regional Communications and Advocacy Manager for Humanity and Inclusion UK.